The rumours are currently saying that Florian Wirtz will sign for Liverpool. Do we think he's a good signing, a perfect signing, or a bad signing? I'll start with you, Kim, because obviously he was potentially meant to go to Manchester City. You said on a separate video, Man City, you've been watching him for 2 years. I didn't want to correct you then. I'll correct you now. Michael Edwards has apparently had a relationship with him and his team for 5 years, which is why he chose Liverpool.
Interesting. So it's been long, guys.
Hasn't chosen Liverpool yet.
You've been tapping him up for a long time. No, he's a perfect signing. He's a perfect signing. I think you also have to factor in the fact that the other team that he would be coming to would be Manchester City, if we're to believe that he wasn't interested in the Bayern Munich project. I think it's also been reported, which I think is very interesting, and to me says that he will be a success, is that he had meetings with Vincent Kompany and he had meetings with Arne Slot. He didn't feel like Vincent Kompany gave him a vision of where he would play, and he felt very, very excited by the project at Liverpool. And I think when you have those meetings with a manager and you're choosing between two huge clubs and you go for one because of the sporting project, by the way, he is German and every single German kid's dream is to play for Bayern Munich, and he's chosen to leave his homeland to come and play for Liverpool because he loves the project that much. That says to me that conversation has gone incredibly well. And I mean, you just look at him, he's an unbelievable talent. There's a reason that Liverpool have been tapping him up for 5 years, City for 2 or 3. And I think he's exactly the type of player that's going to succeed in the Premier League. And I'm genuinely gutted that he's going to Liverpool.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely quality. And I think on the Bayern Munich situation, it's like, saw it for Germany in the Euros. I don't really know how Musiala and Wirtz work together. And it didn't really... Germany figured out a way to get them both in the same team, but they both want to do similar things. And Musiala was shoved out wide. And at Bayern Munich, you're not shoving Musiala out wide. He's playing them where he wants to play because he's Mr. Bayern Munich. So I just look at the project they've got at Liverpool, and I look at the fact that the Premier League, it felt like this year has lost something because Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. When Erling Haaland came to Premier League, it was huge. It was massive. Having a superstar like Florian Wirtz, who could go to any club in the world, come to the Premier League and come to Liverpool, who are the league champions, feels seismic. And it changes my perception of Liverpool as a football club. I thought that this season was maybe an outlier. I thought next year would be a struggle for Arne Slot. But bringing a player like Wirtz, who will move mountains and feed families in Liverpool, I just think that he's going to be a perfect fit. What I ask you, though, is where does he play?
I think Liverpool this is where I think there will be a transitional period, because I think when you bring in a player of this sort of quality and also a fee, you can't then not build a team for them. And Liverpool haven't really done that for anyone but Salah. But even with Salah, like, you still allow Trent to thrive. Like, other guys still get a chance to be the main guys. But Florian Wirtz is very much so like, give me the ball, like, I'm the main source of this party. Kind of like what Coutinho was like at Liverpool. So in terms of where he fits in, I think you play off the left-hand side, which is why I think Liverpool brought in Milo Kirkic, or are potentially bringing in Milo Kirkic, to go and get, like, sort of bomb on next to him, similar to Grimaldo has done, and they built a really good relationship over there. But then I think Liverpool, for the first time in a while, will start playing with a box midfield. So it's play a 4-2-3-1, Gravenberch, McAllister. Still think Liverpool need a 6, which is very unpopular among Liverpool fans. And then Szoboszlai and Wirtz in front of them, with Frimpong bombing on the right-hand side and Kirkic the other side. I don't know if I like the composition of it. We talk a lot about composition on this show. And I don't know if that fills me with a load of defensive confidence, because then you're going, okay, Konate, like, you're going to have to do a lot of work out wide, which sort of didn't have to do because Trent dropped in. And Van Dijk, at your age now, you're going to have to do loads of work on your side. McAllister, you don't really have the legs to bomb in and out, so you're now going to have to go play the 6. Things are going to have to change. And that, for me, is a little bit of a concern.
It seems like these directors of football built a team for Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like with Jeremy Frimpong and then with Florian Wirtz. Obviously, I know that Arne Slot's done an incredible job at Liverpool. But it does seem like the perfect coach for this team, or the perfect system, was Alonso's Leverkusen system from last year. And that's why I just struggle a little bit with Wirtz in terms of where he plays. But he's such a good footballer that I think he figures it out. And also, it's foreplanning in terms of, we know how good Mo Salah is, right? But he's not going to last forever. He signed a 2-year deal. Whether he drops off next season or the season following that, it's important to bring in your next marquee player. And you've stolen the march on everybody else in the world by bringing the player of quality of Wirtz. And I think that it might take, and I think football fans need to be patient, it might take 2 or 3 months. But after the settling period, he'll be one of the best players in the Premier League, without a doubt.
I also think it's such a dangerous signing, because when Haaland came, for example, every single team was thinking about how to stop him. Fair enough, they couldn't do it in the first season. Second season, they got to understand it. They put more players on him. And because City didn't have the quality elsewhere, that wasn't really to our benefit. Whereas you're going to have Florian Wirtz. If people are worried about him and they try and double up on him, you've got the best winger in Premier League history on the other side, who's going to have way more space. And let's be honest, like, Salah hasn't really had a superstar to play with at Liverpool. He's had Van Dijk further back. He's had Trent Alexander-Arnold further back, but he hasn't had a superstar to play alongside him.
Mane's not a superstar?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I would say he's an unbelievable footballer, but I'd say in terms of his profile and his character, he's not a superstar.
They're always 1 and 2. Like Salah was always 1, Mane
was always 2.
Yeah.
This is the first time Salah's going to have that, and I think it will make him better because we know what he's like. Let's be honest. He is a humble guy, but he's also incredibly competitive. He's going to see this guy come in on definitely more money than he's on, and he's going to want to prove a point as well.
If you run it back, when Coutinho had that very short period with Mo Salah, the combination was outstanding. Because the problem for Liverpool, even this season, and I said it over and over again, obviously Liverpool go on to win the league, but they became very one-dimensional, and the PSG game was a brilliant example of that. PSG said, you get the ball to Salah, we'll allow you to do that, but then we'll stop him, and then you've got nowhere to go. And I think that's why this season is a little bit slept on. It's not a Salah conversation, but he was playing with a sort of, the composition up front three was never working, really. Now with Florian Wirtz, if that composition starts to work and they get the 9 right, whether that's Luis Diaz or Gakpo, I do wonder what's going to happen there, or a new signing. Salah now has someone to work with, and that now starts to become a problem for other teams. And like you said, I think teams will go stop Wirtz, and then you let that right side go, which is Salah, and then also Frimpong, who, like you said, Frimpong's not a right back who kind of gets goals and assists. He's a winger.
He's not a right back.
He's not a right back, yeah. So like you're now having to deal with 2 right wingers, your entire left side shut out. So then you might have to lend Wirtz the ball. You don't want to give him the ball. So physicality will be interesting. I do think we speak a lot about physicality as well. He's quite diminutive. He's not the strongest footballer, so I think he may struggle a little bit when people start to kick lumps out of him, but I think he'll adjust. He's a German boy, German blood.
Kweki, you are looking at it, innit? And you're thinking Kirkes, Frimpong and Wirtz. Like,
crazy.
It's a bit scary for us.
Oh man, like Liverpool were lambasted last summer. Why are you bringing in your players? Chiesa, that's not enough. And they just sat and waited and won the league whilst waiting. And now they're having a historic transfer window. Wirtz, Kirkes and Frimpong, to me, just makes Liverpool clear favourites next season.
It's a 10 out of 10 window.
Yeah, and that's before the transfer window's really even started. I know these transfers have not been confirmed yet, but it's moving in that direction. And before these transfers were mooted, I said Arsenal enters next season as favourites, right? We all know what they need. They'll go and get it. They should be favourites. I think this puts Liverpool in a different stratosphere to everybody else. I think this makes them clear favourites to the Premier League.
I also think it's like a little bit of a turning point for Liverpool because we've spoken about it before. No matter how big Liverpool have been as a club, they do sometimes struggle to lure the superstars in, whether that's living in the north of England that they don't like. I don't know what it is, but they have seemed to struggle, haven't they? And I think City have as well, and I think Manchester United probably haven't, but they have in the last sort of 10 or so years. And this changes the game. This is basically the Haaland of now, right? This is the player that basically everyone in the world would want. This is an Mbappe-style signing. Florian Wirtz is the name on everyone's lips. Is who everyone wants to sign, and he's chosen Liverpool, which changes the perception around other players who might be thinking about coming to Liverpool this year and a few years going forward as well.